Have you ever uncovered something so crushing that it felt as if time itself froze? I have. It happened on a Tuesday a little after midnight. The bedroom was dark except for the icy blue light shining from my wife Sarah's phone. She believed I was asleep. From beneath half-closed eyes, I watched her thumb glide across the screen, erasing a message. One notification stayed behind. It was from a man named Mark. The message read, "I can't wait for our next trip, my love." In that instant, my heart seemed to stop. In the heavy silence of our apartment in Chicago, I realized the life I thought I had was built on deception. I needed the full truth, even if it shattered me completely. If you truly enjoy stories like this, consider subscribing to the channel. Let us know where you're watching from and what time it is where you are. It's always incredible to see how far a single story can travel. For months, I had sensed something was wrong. Sarah, my partner of 10 years, had grown distant. The woman who once laughed at my terrible jokes and curled up beside me on the couch had disappeared. In her place stood someone unfamiliar, always working late or flying off on sudden business trips to Miami. She returned home carrying the scent of a perfume I didn't recognize and rushed straight into the shower. If I asked about her, "Day!" she snapped, accusing me of being possessive. Her phone never left her hand. She tilted the screen away from me like it held state secrets. Small inconsistencies began stacking up. Credit card statements listed restaurant charges I hadn't attended. There were hotel receipts from Michigan Avenue on nights she claimed to be at conferences downtown. A constant tension twisted in my stomach, an ache that refused to fade. The first time I confronted her, she flipped the situation onto me. Her eyes turned icy as she said, "Are you actually accusing me of cheating after everything I do for us? If you weren't so insecure, maybe you'd trust me." It was calculated and precise. Somehow, I ended up apologizing. She made me feel petty and ashamed. For a while, I convinced myself I had imagined it all. But the late evenings didn't stop. Neither did the quiet phone conversations she took out on the balcony, her voice blending into the city noise below. I felt trapped, in a permanent state of unease, tiptoeing around my own home. I began to question my sanity. The moment that changed everything came weeks later. She announced another work trip, this time to Dallas. She pressed a quick, emotionless kiss to my cheek before leaving and promised to call after landing. That night, sleep wouldn't come. Doubt consumed me. Around 2 a.m, I walked into her home office without knowing what I expected to find. Her laptop sat open on the desk. Her personal email account was still signed in. My hands trembled as I clicked through her inbox. There it was, a flight confirmation to Miami, not Dallas. 2 passengers, Sarah and Mark Jennings. There were reservations at an upscale resort in South Beach, dinner bookings, even concert tickets. My world seemed to implode. I sat alone in the darkness, staring at the glowing screen, and something inside me broke. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it felt physical, like a crushing weight pressing against my chest. I wasn't only devastated, I was humiliated. The woman I had trusted completely was leading a secret life, making a fool of me. That night, sorrow hardened into something colder. I didn't want a simple confrontation. That would have been too merciful. She and Mark needed to experience the same public shame they had inflicted on me. So I began to prepare. I turned into an investigator within my own marriage. I installed keystroke tracking software on her laptop. I purchased a miniature recording device and hid it in her car. Every hidden message, every hushed conversation, every fabricated excuse. I saved it all. The tracking software exposed their entire digital relationship. They maintained a shared photo album packed with images from their trips, posing together on a Miami beach, embracing inside hotel rooms, celebrating his birthday. They called each other soulmates. In their private chats, they ridiculed me, labeling me dull and predictable, the fool funding their adventures. My anger intensified. I hired a private investigator to follow them. He eventually handed me a thick envelope filled with high-resolution photographs. Sarah and Mark strolling hand-in-hand down Lincoln Road in Miami, kissing across a dinner table. At Joe's Stone Crab, walking into the Delano Hotel side by side. The proof was undeniable. Then there was the final piece. For the past year, Sarah had talked non-stop about wanting a baby. Months earlier, she told me she was pregnant. I tried to feel happy, though the timing felt suspicious considering her growing distance. Now I understood. The conception dates aligned perfectly with one of her Miami trips, so I performed my role flawlessly. I attended every medical appointment. I nodded along as she discussed baby names. Beneath it all, I felt nothing but cold detachment. A few weeks after the child was born, I discreetly arranged a DNA test without her knowledge, using strands of hair from the baby's brush and my own sample. When the results arrived, they confirmed what I already knew. Probability of paternity, 0%. He was not my son. The day I chose to expose everything was Sarah's 30th birthday. I organized an elaborate celebration at an upscale restaurant in River North. Friends, relatives, her co-workers, even her boss attended. Mark, a senior partner at her law firm, was there too. I had made certain of it. She glowed with pride all evening, soaking in attention and compliments, convinced she controlled every aspect of her life. At the height of the celebration, I rose to deliver a toast. The room quieted. I lifted my glass. To my beautiful wife, Sarah, I began calmly. She's someone who always achieves her goals. She wanted a thriving career, and she has it. She wanted a devoted husband, and she found one. Most importantly, she longed for a child. I paused, letting the silence stretch. And she succeeded in having a child with the man she truly loves. I dropped a stack of photographs onto the table. Conversations died instantly as guests examined the images of Sarah and Mark together. Intimate, undeniable. Her parents stared in. Shock. Her boss's expression hardened. Sarah's color drained away. Mark looked petrified. I held up one final document. This, I said clearly, is a paternity test. It confirms our baby boy isn't mine. Congratulations, Mark. You're the father. The explosion of chaos unfolded exactly as I had envisioned. Her mother sobbed. Her father shouted. Her employer approached, studied the evidence, then looked directly at them and said, "You're both terminated. Clear your offices tomorrow." Sarah screamed at me, calling me cruel. I met her gaze without emotion. "You created this," I replied. Then I walked out, leaving her standing amid the wreckage of her own choices. The consequences followed quickly. I filed for divorce the very next day, armed with overwhelming evidence. She received nothing in the settlement. The law firm dismissed her for professional misconduct. Her family cut ties. Friends distanced themselves. Mark's wife divorced him and took nearly everything he owned. About a week later, my phone rang from an unfamiliar number. It was Mark. He was crying, pleading with me to take responsibility for the child. He claimed he never wanted fatherhood and accused Sarah of trapping him. He said his world was falling apart. I listened in silence for a few moments, unmoved. "You made your choices," I told him quietly. Then I ended the call. Soon after, I left Chicago. I purchased a modest house beside a quiet lake in Michigan. Life here is peaceful. I spend my days repairing the house and my evenings watching. The water ripple under the fading light. The fury that once consumed me has faded, replaced by a deep, empty calm. Occasionally, I think about them, but the thoughts drift away quickly. They belong to another chapter, one that no longer defines me. It has been a year. The only item I kept from that life is a small vacant picture frame that once displayed our wedding photograph. The rest is gone. The end.